Hello, I'm Saberspark, and I have rage issues, specifically when it comes to video games. It's wild to think that I haven't played that many video games in my life, yet the ones that I really just laser focused on became the definition of my existence, where it's like, this is who I am. That's my personality. I'm World of Warcraft. I'm Halo 3. I'm Hearthstone. I'm Overwatch. Damn you, Blizzard. Why did I even play your games? I just want to tell you all a few stories of the not-so honorable times that I've lost my cool because of video games and the dumb things I've done because of said rage. And I share this story not to make little of anger issues. It's a very real thing, and they can get very serious. Myself, I've had to take a moment to really breathe deeply, be real with myself, try and make efforts to pump my brakes when it comes to letting my anger getting the better of me. Fortunately, it's just video games, thank goodness. So, if I want to have to get angry about something, at least it's something that's somewhat trivial in the grand scheme and I can walk away from. So let's begin. So it goes without saying, when you have siblings, you fight your siblings. You fight. You throw fist. And there were many a time, and this is a bit of a blanket as far as me explaining this era of anger and rage, where there were many a moment where I'd fight my sisters because of video games. Fighting over controllers. Whose turn is it to use the Xbox? Mom said it was my turn. You know how it goes. And gosh, the just many moments of pushing my sisters down the stairs, throwing them on the floor, and that was kind of my introduction to the world of being angry about video games. A cousin beats me in the game, I'm pissed off. My sister takes control out of my hands because it's her turn to play the game. Stupid, dumb, I'm angry. Mom, I'm angry. That's where it kind of began. And it all stems from competition and, of course, of my own insecurities. But that was my starting point, and it got worse. Halo 3, playing online, definitely brought out a pretty ugly side in me, where I would just skip college classes. I would just sit in front of the TV all day playing Halo. And this is where more of not via physical violence, of thank goodness, which, by the way, I've never been violent towards anybody. I just say that after saying I fought my siblings. That's different. Yeah, kind of roughhouse. I mean, as in oh, I'm so angry, I'm going to assault someone now. That's never happened. Just throwing that out there. But I've done dumb things like throwing my controller at the TV. That happened a lot with Halo, where I was kind of hoping it would break the TV. It's a weird emotion, a weird feeling where you're like, I hope it breaks, but I hope it doesn't break. The controller broke, and that was my first actual loss when it came to let's bust out the sheet of how much money this is gonna cost you. And so it began with Halo, with me breaking my Xbox controller and seeing it on the ground in pieces, and I was like, that was dumb, but I'm angry still. Now I'm even more angry because my controller's broken. And then began World of Warcraft, which kind of started before Halo. That was encompassed quite a few years of my life, from 2005 to 2000, and I'd say 8 or 9. And my God, playing PvP, that's where the screams started to come out, where I'd be playing World of Warcraft, fighting other players, going to the battlegrounds, losing. And the thing is, these since you're playing against other players, they made it personal. They'll taunt you, they'll gank you, and you're just sitting there and just stewing in rage, and you're just screaming and shouting. And there was a moment one night where I screamed so loud. I was in the basement playing the game. I screamed so loud that my mom, who was on the upstairs floor, the third floor, I guess, of the house, I just hear her stomp, stomp, stomp coming downstairs. I'm like, I'm a dead man. I'm dead. I screamed too loud. I also said a bad word in this Christian household. Dead man. I was afraid. It was like Rancor walking downstairs, and I was like, I'm dead. Where's a rope? Let me end myself before she finds me. And then things got worse. So I did kind of cool off with video games a bit. Here I've said things got worse and things cooled off. I played Starcraft II from 2010 to around 2012 or 13. And I got very competitive during that, because I specifically played against other players online. And that's when I started to break my mouse, where I started to actually punch the desk in the office. And that was the first time I punched a wall. I threw a fist at the wall, the drywall, and you can see my imprint of my fist. And I went into damage control mode where I'm like, Mom, because I was still living with my mother at the time, I tripped and my fist hit the wall. And it's like, I'm freaking like 20 or whatever, 20, 21. I'm making this fib up to my mom. I felt like a little kid being reprimanded and trying to save my ass with a freaking fib. Like, how pathetic. She believed it. Thank goodness she believed it. But yeah, I tripped, Mom, and my fist punched the wall while I was trying to catch myself. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And then Hearthstone arrived. I got so angry at Hearthstone. I broke quite a few things on my watch. And this was the weird era where it's like, okay, it's my stuff. I reap what I sow. And there's this weird voice in my head where it's like, it doesn't matter. It's your stuff. You can break it if you want. I broke my phone. I actually like snapped it, like I bent it in half and snapped it. Not like, a piece of paper or cardboard, but like you can hear the cracking in the phone, and the phone's like, bloop. And it's like, oh, it's dead. I broke my laptop where I picked it up and slammed it on the ground, and it broke. And it's like the death toll of equipment was starting to, climb. And I was without recourse. I'm like, well, there goes my laptop. I'm an idiot. I don't have a laptop anymore. I was a stupid, poor copier salesman at the time, so I had no money. And I was like, well, I deserve this. And of course, after breaking it, I would continue on playing the game via some other device I could get my hands on, like the computer in the house. And then I finally moved out of the house. I had my own apartment, and I had my own equipment that I brought with me. And I started playing Overwatch. And this was the most aggressive I ever became playing games, where I broke 2 monitors. I actually picked up one of my monitors one time after losing. I had like one of those awful days where I played like all day. Lost. And I feel like when you lose at a game, it makes it like you feel insecure, like it's your fault, that you don't feel good about yourself. And the bizarre sensation of like, why do you even play to begin with? You're not having fun. What fulfillment are you trying to get? And I wonder if it's like chasing the dragon of like these little small moments of like this, give me that dopamine or whatever, which is like you're not in control here. Like you're putting yourself in a bad situation where it's just awful, and you're the one who pays the price, and hopefully no one else. And I took my monitor, one of them, and just slammed it on the ground, broke it. And it was an expensive monitor, it was like $200. And I took another one like a month later, and I picked it up by the cord and I swirled it around like a mace, like from like the Witch King in Lord of the Rings, and I slammed it on the floor. And this was the moment where I was like, okay, now I'm getting pretty bad. And then I had this really nice laptop that like arrived like a month later. And I decided to, at first I did not download Hearthstone to it, because I'm like, oh, I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. Or Overwatch, I'm sorry. And then I played Overwatch on it, and I ripped the laptop in 2. I actually took the top part of the laptop and I cracked it over my knee and broke it in 2. I just dropped on the floor, and my poor dog Lammy heard me shouting, and the poor dog, this is the moment that got me. Because all this equipment I'm breaking, it's like stupid. Like I broke walls, I punched walls, I hurt myself, I sprained my fingers from like punching stuff, bruised myself, breaking equipment. And the moment that was finally a moment of clairvoyance that set the bar moving forward, where I truly like conquered my anger issues with games, was my poor little poodle Lammy, rest in peace. He didn't die from this, by the way. He lived a full life of peace, but he heard me shouting one time in the apartment, and he was scared, and he actually like got up and ran to the living room and was in the corner just shaking, and I felt like a monster. I just stood there, and I was like, this is not the life I want to live. This isn't worth it. This isn't fun. It's a loss across the board. Everyone loses, especially me. I need to be better. So at that point, I said to myself, if I ever have an inkling of any kind of anger emerging while playing a game, I need to put the game down and walk away, because that's just who I am. And I feel like that's important to know. It's like you don't get to control every aspect of yourself. Like no one has that level of discipline where you're like, I'm in complete and total command. It's like, no, you have moments where you have urges or something, emotion gets the better of you. It happens. You're human. That's okay. The most important thing is to acknowledge it and try to take control to at least keep it in line. And that's the case for me. Like, I still have anger issues. And that's just who I am, which is weird. I'm sure you're all like, Saberspark? Anger issues? What? I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I have anger issues. But never to the point where, again, it ever hurt anybody. Just when I break stuff from games, which is so petty and dumb in the grand scheme of things. And I acknowledged that years ago, like back in 2016, and I never looked back. So I'm proud to say right now, I'm better. Took a journey, lost a lot of money along the way. But when you realize, when you have that profound moment of truly seeing yourself in the mirror and wanting to be better, like that's when you have to really take control. And that's my Saberspark game-related story to you all of how I had my issues, and they're still there. You know, they don't just disappear; they're under control. And I hope that my story at least, gives you some laughs here and there, but more importantly, lets you know that you're not alone and that your anger, if you have it, can be taken under control. And if anything, if you're gonna play games, make sure you're playing them for the right reasons. At least that's my opinion. All right, that's my story. See y'all next time. Punches. What game am I playing right now? Among Us screen. Among Us 2022.